Bienvenido to another episode of Oswego Deportes Update. I'm Blaze Hill. Adam, Derek Jeter played in his final home opener today. What would you get the captain for a retirement gift, big guy?
I'm Adam Rupsick, and I'd probably get him some weighted cleats because nothing can slow the man down, including age. Tonight on OSU, the weather problems continue for the Lakers on the diamond, but the Lax teams are holding their own.
Plus, we'll give our final thoughts on the college basketball season as it comes to a close, and our athlete of the week will drop by to talk some college lacrosse. All this and more right here, right now, OSU. In the latest string of schedule changes, the Oswego baseball team had its Tuesday home game versus Cortland moved to Cortland due to poor field conditions in Oswego. But on the bright side, or should I say the dry side, Oswego took 2 of 3 in New Paltz this weekend, outscoring the Hawks 15-11. The highlight of the weekend came Sunday in the rubber match when freshman Eric Hamilton had a pinch hit walk-off single to seal the series for the Lakers. Adam, despite all of the weather conflicts, the guys are holding their own at 11-5 overall and 2-3 in conference. What has impressed you most about this team so far?
I think their ability to stay tough throughout all this, with all the postponements, going to Florida, coming back up the coast, getting some wins. When you get up here, a lot of their games were postponed last week. They come in, they get two out of 3 wins in New Paltz on the weekend, and they're hitting very well. 8 players above 300. I like that in the early season.
Yeah, and you mentioned how they've been playing. I'd like to point out that they haven't played a game since spring break.
Yep.
This was their first game in about 2 weeks, and all those games are in Florida, so a lot of travel, a lot of time off, and they haven't even been practicing consistently, or at least outdoors because of the field conditions. But they're playing balanced baseball. They're scoring pretty consistently. Their starting pitching has been doing really well. That's actually what's impressed me most has been their starting pitching. And the one game they lost this past weekend was because they allowed 4 runs in the 7th inning. That's a relief pitching issue. As a whole, I really like where this team's headed right now, especially headed into conference play.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of that, I think, this year with the games they're dropping, especially with the doubles, headers, and 3 games in 2 days, like we talked about. But the games they are winning, they're producing very well. Pitcher in the first game, 9 innings pitched, only 9 hits in that game. So pitched the whole game, shows good toughness there. Buniak, we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, 6 hits in 2 days. So he's producing at the plate. Pitchers are producing well, and they're getting off and going. 3 runs in the 2nd inning in their 3rd game, and 3 runs in the 9th. To keep it going.
I've got one concern for this team headed down the stretch. They've got 18 conference games left.
Yeah.
15 of them are on the road.
They only have one home game between now and April 23rd.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough.
This team's got to be tough to win.
Got to be tough.
After some postponements last week, the Oswego State softball team got their start on the road in Oneonta and New Paltz this weekend. The team notched 1 win in 4 games, beating New Paltz yesterday. The team has a stretch of home games coming up. What are your early season thoughts, please?
Well, Adam, I think, as far as early season thoughts go, I'm looking at this team as a whole right now. They played 7 games in Florida to start the season, which in my opinion are pretty much preseason games. They played pretty well, but the teams they played, they're probably not going to see again ever, and certainly not again this season. So they play 7 games in Florida. Then they come and they play 2 games in Oneonta. They drop both of those games, but Oneonta is by far and above the best team in the SUNYAC for softball. And then they split the New Paltz series. And the one game they lost, they fell just short of winning. It was a 4-3 loss. They almost had the 7th inning comeback going. So I like where this team's going. They're putting themselves in a chance to win games, and what more can you ask for that? The wins are going to come.
Yeah, this team's in an okay spot. Not in a good spot, not in a bad spot. There's some games they let go. There's some games that they've worked hard and they've won. What I like about this team right now is the pitcher in Nasca really pitching well, and then leads the team in extra base hits, producing on both ends of the field. That leadership, I think, is what they need to give them some morale, give them some hype to get going. My concern, they get outscored 14-8 in the 1st inning, and then they end bad. They get outscored 8-2 in the 6th. So they're starting slow, ending bad.
Yeah, they got to find that in-between balance. I think this weekend's going to be a telltale for them, going forward. Weather pending, I think this is where we're going to see, what kind of team that they're going to be for the rest of the season. 16 conference games left. They've got a long way to go.
After starting the season 4-3, the Oswego State men's lacrosse team played their SUNYAC opener Friday. The Lakers lost to the home contest to Brockport Golden Eagles by the score of 8-3. Blaze, it's no doubt it's a talented team, probably one of the most talented we've seen in our time here. What do you think they need to do to get back on track?
Well, Adam, when I look at this team right now, I look at consistent play. Sometimes they're playing well in the 2nd half, but not the 1st half. Most recently against Brockport, they played pretty well in the 1st half, but then they struggled to score in the 2nd half. They didn't score a single goal in the 4th quarter. I thought Brockport was a team that they could beat. It just seems like historically, or I guess of late in the last couple of years, we always talk about this team, starting well, but then struggling in conference. In their last 20 conference games, this dates back to spring of 2010. In their last 20 conference games, they're 3-17 in conference. And 2 of those wins came last season. So they've definitely been struggling in conference. Just seems like they run out of gas when the conference schedule comes in the second half and, down the stretch of the season. And I don't really know what the solution is for that.
I'm going to keep going back to this bad weather trend. Because
that's fair.
They've been inside, they go down, they come back, and then they get out there against Brockport on Friday, pouring rain, might I add. Horrible conditions out there. Tough game. Dropped that one 8-3. But this team does have signs. They're scoring a lot of goals. They're offensively, I think they're good. Defensively, they need to get back. They have allowed the least amount, second least in the SUNYAC with only 70 goals allowed. So they're playing decent defense. They're playing decent in all aspects. Up it a little bit because conference sales was coming up, going to be hard.
I completely agree with you on the defensive aspect, and it seems to me from an offensive standpoint, when Gianpaolo, Witcher, and Corden, when they're scoring, the team has success. So they got to keep getting on the board. The Oswego State women's lacrosse team, on the other hand, has had a pretty successful look in the early season. Last weekend, the squad faced off against the top team in the SUNYAC in Cortland. After an 11-3 defeat, the Lakers will look to rebound getting into SUNYAC play. Adam, what do the Lakers need to have success in conference play?
Well, I think they got to keep scoring. I mean, they're up there. They're scoring a lot of goals. They outscore their opponents by 20 goals, 63-43 on the year. And 3 of their scores are in double digits. And their top scorer has 11 goals, 12 assists. So a lot of assists coming, a lot of production, a lot of balance up at the top of that scoring list.
I think it's very similar. A very offensive team, not necessarily a great defensive team. The schedule goes pretty fast. I really want to see them increase their defensive output. But let's, obviously they've had the conference struggles, but let's talk about how they've started this season, Adam. They played Fredonia and Cortland, who are by far the 2 best teams in the SUNYAC in women's lacrosse. That's a tough start to your schedule. The fact that they hung with Fredonia, and maybe they got beat up by Cortland a little bit in that game, but I think that's okay because these are the 2 best teams, and Oswego not expected to be one of the better teams. I thought an interesting point, they had their senior day already. Could have had it later in the season. They had against Cortland, so it's kind of a shame that they already lost that. But definitely a long way to go in this season. Got to step up the D, though. Well, that's not all the Oswego sports coverage we've got for you tonight. Our athlete of the week is here and ready to talk with Dan North about his team's early success and what his team's chances are in the SUNYAC. Stick around to find out who's in studio after the break. This is OSU.
Well, now I'm Naked Cowboy coming to a town you're watching WTOP TV 10 Oswego, New York. I'm Naked Cowboy.
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
I present to you Algebra 2. Foreign languages! And finally, biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me.
Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
Hey Laker fans, remember the following. Be loud, be proud, be funny, be civil.
Above all, be positive.
We've cleaned up our act on the ice. Now it's your turn to clean up yours in the stands.
Welcome back to Oswego Sports Update. Dan North is over at the round table with our athlete of the week. Let's say hello to men's lacrosse star, junior midfielder, Connor Kamar. Danny, take it away.
Blaze, thank you very much. Like you said, here with Connor Kamar Jr. on the men's lacrosse team. Connor, thanks for joining us here on OSU.
Thank you.
No problem. So, getting things underway, spring is slowly coming. How have you guys dealt with this weather here?
It's definitely been tough. We're fortunate to have Romney Fieldhouse to be inside. We do have early 7:30 a.m. practices. I think the way that coach managed that time slot definitely helped. It hurts that we don't have a turf, but I hear that we are supposed to have one soon.
That's good to know. I bet that the fields are in pretty wet conditions, muddy conditions out there right now. And you guys starting off the year with a tough loss to Ithaca, but then bounced back with 3 straight W's, and then 2 losses in a row, 2 tough losses. How do you guys bounce back as you face Cortland on Wednesday?
I think we have to definitely come with some high intensity. They're a high caliber team, a lot of good players, but there's nothing that we can't do.
Right, looking to pull the upset. 7 seniors on this team, 14 juniors on the roster as well, along with 9 freshmen. What have you upperclassmen done to tell these freshmen what Laker lacrosse is all about?
I think it's definitely important that we instill in them that playoffs are of a lot more intensity. You got to come to play. The other teams do. Just be leaders out there, come to practice, ready to go, and hope that they follow our lead.
Right, and of the 9 freshmen on this team, one of them that holds an important role is Wyatt Russo. He's been playing pretty well as of late. What is it like, for you to see him progress here in mid-season?
It's really nice. Wyatt makes a lot of big saves in practice and also in games, as you can see on the stat sheets. It's nice to have a freshman come in with that kind of confidence and really get the job done.
And you yourself has had quite the impact since your freshman year. Another great year in store for you, scoring. You're scoring on over 65% of your shots. How do you feel about your game right now?
There's always room for improvement. I always like to think that my confidence level can also increase. I definitely need to take more shots this year. My scoring percentage is good, but it can only get better.
Goals win the game. In a big game coming up against Cortland, do you guys have a game plan going in?
Just come with high intensity, less mistakes, less turnovers. Just get after it.
Cortland always a tough team in the SUNYAC play, and we'll take a step off the field here. What's your major, and what do you like to do in your free time?
Right now my major is accounting, and in my free time I really enjoy golfing. I like to hang out with friends.
Talking a little bit about the golfing before the show,
Yeah.
Your own boy Dan North here. And we have the Masters this week, Thursday coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Who do you got in the March Madness Championship?
I had Florida actually.
Nice.
So.
And I think Kentucky is, they cut it close. They were down by 15 earlier, but thanks again for joining us here, Connor. It was great having you.
Thank you.
And when we return, we'll catch you up on what's happening in national sports. Don't touch that dial. This is OSU.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends, friends to go out with on a Saturday night, friends to hang out with and do nothing, friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Hey, Matt, we're doing basketball this weekend, right?
No, Blaze, I told you we're doing hockey.
We did hockey last weekend.
I don't care, we're doing hockey this weekend again.
It's basketball season.
It's hockey season.
Basketball.
Hockey.
Basketball. Hockey. Basketball. College hockey.
Why not both?
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
Welcome back. Let's send it over to Dan the Man North, who has some topics up for grabs. Dan, there's a national championship game going on right now. You got an update for us?
Well, UConn is currently winning that one 58-52 over Kentucky, and the March Madness is coming to an end. UConn facing off with Kentucky, of course. And as this game nears its end, who you guys got coming out on top?
Well, Adam, it's tough to say. You know, we didn't get to watch most of the second half. We missed, the last probably 5-10 minutes of the game. But having watched, the first half, it was pretty clear that UConn dominated that first half, but then Kentucky made that surge right back at the end. It really wasn't a surprise to me to see that these teams are going back and forth. It definitely feels like a national championship game, even if it's a 7-8 matchup. Because is it really a 7-8 matchup?
It is.
These are two storied programs.
UConn came in rated number 1 in the beginning of the year. UConn's been there all year as a good team. Shabazz Napier, a great player. He'll go down. He'll be a great in the league someday. But Kentucky's so athletic. They keep getting back in the game, but UConn is they play good team basketball. Shabazz can really take over the game, and I think they were just a little too fast for Kentucky, excuse me. So I think UConn's going to come out on top. They got the slim lead right now. If I had to bet some money, UConn's coming out on top, but Kentucky, real athletic. I hope some of those guys maybe come back because they could be real good next year.
If I had to bet some money, I'd take UConn as well. The only thing I'd say, though, is Kentucky, every time you think they're out, someone's making a shot, whether it be Harrison, pretty much anybody on that Kentucky starting lineup can make a shot. So they're definitely not over until that final buzzer hits 0. Danny, more college basketball. We got the women's side.
Yeah, you said it. Not only is the men's national championship taking place, but the women are also competing for a champion tomorrow night. The Connecticut women's team looks to notch another national championship as they face off with Notre Dame. Local native Brianna Stewart, the AP Player of the Year, looks to lead the Huskies, guys. Who do you have winning this one?
Well, I got Notre Dame. Notre Dame's coming in.
Really?
They're not scared of UConn.
Really?
UConn has the experience in the title games. They've won so many of them.
Okay.
Notre Dame, though, they're turning back into a powerhouse. Haven't won since 01. They're coming back. Notre Dame, they're not afraid of UConn. They're going to take them down.
Gino Auriemma has been here time and time again, Adam. He's the type of coach you want in this situation. They've got the best, one of the, if not the best player in the country in Bree Stewart. Shout out to the 315. She's from CNS High School. And I really just like UConn. I think they're the more complete team. But I think the most interesting storyline about this, and nobody's really talking about it that much because everybody's so focused tonight on the men's side, is that both of these teams are undefeated headed into this.
Yeah.
It's the first time ever that both sides have been undefeated. So we know this year for a fact that we're going to get a team who ran the table this year, and to do that in today and age.
Last team to do that was Baylor.
Yeah.
And then UConn before that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're coming back. But I just think the
unbelievable.
ACC was stronger this year with Notre Dame than the ACC was.
I think UConn's got the size. I think UConn's got the raw talent. Gino
If UConn
Auriemma's
pulls
got
it
the
out,
experience.
UConn pulls it out tonight in the men's, and then the women win. That's going to be a big party at UConn
Second
this
time
weekend.
ever, and the last team to do it was UConn 10 years ago in 04. That'd be pretty funny the way history works out like that. Dan, it looks like you just received a live update on the national championship game. What do you got?
It's over, guys. UConn wins it 60-54 over Kentucky. No magic happening this time from Aaron Harrison. What a run by the Fab Five, the second Fab Five. They're trying to get that going, but what a game. And it's starting to get nice out here, slowly, as we talked about here in Oswego. But it is nice in Augusta, too. Well, except for today. The first practice round for the Masters tournament was suspended due to severe weather. But, guys, the first major golf championship of the year is almost here. What are your expectations?
Well, finally,
You're the
now that basketball's over, we can talk about
I love golf. You're the
a
expert.
tradition
I'm gonna let you
like
start
any
on this
other.
one.
Augusta, I've been catching it today. I watched a little junior chip and drive competition. Those
Par
kids
3
hitting like
contest on
250.
Wednesday.
Looks beautiful. A little rainy today. Play got suspended. Couldn't get out there and practice. But a lot to be excited about. Tiger Woods not in it. That's kind of a bummer. But, I mean, everyone likes to see Tiger, especially when he's got a chance to win another green jacket. But this field is full of young, exciting players. And I'm going to keep that theme when I pick my favorite. I'm not going to pick my winner yet. I'll let you give some insight and then come back to me for the winner. But I'm going with young talent. Phil, Adam Scott, they've had their time. But I'm going with young talent. I'll tell you after your insight.
my thing with golf, especially majors nowadays, or I guess any tournament, but especially majors, it just feels like, everybody's always talking about, I like Tiger to win this because he's the most talented when he's in it. But Phil Mickelson's so good. I really like Phil to win it. Rory McIlroy, he's fantastic. All these big name guys, and it is. You just get the vibe, especially in the Masters, as you said, a tradition unlike any other, that it really is going to be one of those young players who steals it. Maybe a player who's going into Saturday morning, so going into the second round or the third round rather, is like right on the boundary of maybe 5-6 strokes back. Then they make the run Saturday, make the run Sunday. You can never predict it. I really want to say Rory, but my producer's been yelling at me for a couple days now to go with Matt Kuchar.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Matt.
Matt Kuchar.
I'm going to go with Kuchar.
He dropped one last weekend. Dropped a big tournament last weekend. But anyway, McIlroy had a big lead in the Masters a few times now. Has dropped it bad. Has straight
chokes on
choked.
that Saturday, Sunday.
But he's calm. He's collective. Tiger's not in the field. He's Nike's face in this one. But my winner, Jordan Spieth, the young man, Jordan Spieth, ranked 13 in the world right now. Guy's gonna take it.
That's what I love. You got to watch out for the name who's right outside the top 10. Coming for the field. I like that. I'm gonna watch for him now.
Jordan Spieth.
You better be right, or I'm gonna be disappointed. Danny, don't go too far. We'll be back with you in a few minutes. Maybe get your Masters opinion there as well. But next segment, you're going to help us fix some problems in the sports world. Stay tuned. This is OSU. Jordan Spieth. I like it.
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
Every night before the show, me and the guys, we like to loosen up a little bit. Blue, 42, hike! Every now and then, Dan likes to take it a little too far. But hey, the show's all about competition, so we'll take it.
Stupid Dan with stupid football and stupid running.
The Hollywood View is back with a brand new season and a brand new look. Join me for non-stop Hollywood coverage news right here on WTOP 10 every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool. Really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
And welcome back. Hey, Dan, I've got some toolbox ready. Who needs some fixing? Where's your toolbox?
Well, Adam, I'll give you a team or a situation, and you guys tell me how to fix it. The Indiana Pacers are really collapsing, it seems, here late in the season, guys. The Pacers are now 2 games back in the loss column behind the Heat, but are really, really struggling down the stretch here. And we saw those struggles last night as they got blown out by the Atlanta Hawks. How do you fix these Pacers?
If there's an NBA team right now that needs fixing, Dan, you hit the nail on the head. It is the Indiana Pacers. This was a team that, definitely at the All-Star break, maybe even 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have said this team was the lock to finish the first seed, have the home field or the home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference, and really go in. I thought they were going to beat the Heat in a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals and go to the NBA Finals. But now this team really has come apart at the seams, so much so that players like Roy Hibbert last night, he's not playing well, played 9 minutes, didn't even speak to the media after the game last night. They got blown out by the Atlanta Hawks, a team who right now is in the playoff picture, but they might drop it to the New York Knicks. This team is a mess right now. You got a solution, Mr. Toolbox?
Let's relax. They're okay. They're okay. They got it going in. They play the worst record in the NBA in the Milwaukee Bucks their next game. Then they got the Heat, Oklahoma City, and Orlando. The Heat and Oklahoma City, they're not must-wins, but they're crucial games to get ready for the playoffs. get a good win against the Bucks, go in, beat the Heat again. Then you got some momentum to beat the Thunder. You're ready for the playoffs. It's okay if they're not winning now. They got the playoffs to win. I think they're going to get it back. They're going to get the spark back. Stevenson will be back. Hibbert will come up. He'll play playoff time. And Paul George, look out, baby. And they'll be back. They'll be back.
I don't care how bad the Pacers are. They're a talented team. There is no way they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals. The East is terrible.
They'll be all right.
Terrible. The worst Eastern Conference we've ever seen.
J.R. Smith's got his shooting arm ready.
Loads of talent on that team. One of the rising stars in Major League Baseball, Yasiel Puig of the Los Angeles Dodgers, is dealing with some nagging injuries right now. Batting .250 on the year with 1 homer, Puig is dealing with that thumb injury, which is still swollen yesterday. How do you fix Puig, guys?
Oh, well, let's relax here. We're April baseball still. April baseball here still. Young player, hasn't really faced a lot of adversity in his career. Had a standout year last year. So this is the first time he's kind of facing some walls, facing some injuries. He'll learn how to get through that. He'll get through it. Still way early. My advice, recover, make sure you're real good, come back, dominate again.
My advice, too, because it seemed like right before this happened, he was kind of having some, I don't even know, attitude issues, I guess.
Ego issues?
Ego issues, yeah. See, he rose to fame last year so fast that I think it kind of all went to his head. I think he needs to step back and kind of know his place. And no disrespect to him, I think he just needs to recognize that he's not the best player on that team. He's not the face of that franchise as much as, they market him as such. He's not. He needs to know his place, get into his role, and just, kind of do his thing. But a cast, that's how you fix a broken thumb.
Sticking with the MLB, the AL West is proving to be a competitive division this year, although we're still very early in the season. The Los Angeles Angels sit at the bottom of that division with a 2-4 record. Guys, what do you fix with the Angels?
I think time's going to fix this one, Adam. I think, again, it's April baseball. I'm not worried till mid-May if the team's really slumping. But the Angels, I will say this, while they're very talented, they have a very high payroll. They signed a lot of guys last offseason, so offseason before this most recent one. It's almost like a wrong place, wrong time thing. They're not playing well, and they're in a division with teams that are all on the rise. The Mariners went out and got Robbie Cano. They're on the rise. The A's a lot of people are calling them a favorite to win the AL this year. And then the Texas Rangers are always a dark horse, to make a run down the stretch.
They just got Prince Fielder.
They just got, the Angels are just in a tough situation at a tough time. They spent all this money, and it might not even pay off.
That's why I don't think time's going to work yet. They gotta start playing better. They got Trout, they got Pools. They got to play a lot better because their division is just getting better.
Definitely.
Well, with just a minute to go, we're coming down to the wire. Jeter moved up to 8 on the all-time hit list. How high will he get, Blaze?
Well, let's see. He's 100 hits away from 6th place, 200 hits away from 5th place. It's not that crazy. I like Jeter to have a 200-hit season and finish 5th all-time. U.S. women's soccer fired head coach Tom Sermani. Adam, the team was 18-2-4 under him and qualifying for the Women's World Cup again later this year. What's the thought process here?
Hey, they didn't win gold They didn't win gold in the Olympics. They want a powerhouse team back in our Women's Federation. Pacers play the Heat on Friday. Who you got?
There's no way the Heat dropped this game. We just talked about how awful the Pacers look right now. The Heat are on fire. They're winning this game. Great match to look forward to. But another thing to look forward to even sooner on Wednesday, Thunder Clippers. Blake, Durant, CP3 Westbrook. Who's winning?
Durant. Too smooth right now.
Yeah.
Too smooth. Just past that record. Too smooth right now.
Kevin Durant on the way, getting that MVP award this year. I think Durant's got that game on lock Wednesday night. Dan, where'd we mess up?
I got nothing. You guys did a good job. Looking forward to this Masters, though. Really looking forward to it.
Clean slate. Clean slate. Well, obviously, what's on the tube this week?
Don't even have to ask me what I'm watching this week.
I love the Masters, but I think my favorite part of the weekend is the par 3 tournament on Wednesday. You just sit down, relax, watch the par 3 tournament. You get to see Gary Player comes out with his relatives, things like that. That's just a great experience.
It looks like they're kidding around, but they're trying to tune it in.
They're
throwing
trying to
darts.
show each other up.
They're saying, I'm here this year too. I'm here this year. I need a new jacket.
Smile for the camera, but behind the scenes, throw a little jab, make sure we're staying on their best because they've got a lot to prove. I think the Masters is going to be a really good one this year. I hope the weather holds off.
Without Tiger, it really opens it up. Really opens up.
Yeah. Congratulations to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And now it's got to happen. Now it's destiny. The women's team's going to win tomorrow. It's destiny.
You can't call them a Cinderella, UConn, this year.
You can't.
Very
like
talented
you said,
team.
number
Played
one.
good team basketball, and they rose to the occasion on every. Tonight, they had to play athletic. They had to play fast. They did that. They knocked
Maybe
out
it's already been said, but I haven't heard it yet. Shabazz Napier pulled a Kemba Walker. Yeah. He pulled a Kemba Walker this year. Kemba Walker's now versed.
Better.
He Kemba Walkered him. All right.
Draft next year in fantasy basketball.
Well, that's all the time we've got here for you on OSU. We'll try to do our best, try to do a little bit better next time. We're on a 167.5-hour break. Tune in again next week, same time, same place, for more of the best Oswego sports banter around.
Until then, for Blaze Hill, our director Matt Bishop, our producer Josh Kay, our special guest, and everyone here at OSU, I'm Adam Rupsick. Enjoy.